30% of people have gone to some sort of play party or BDSM party. And the thing that I love most about erotic parties is it's safe. So flexible just means anything outside of monogamy. Not necessarily because they want to be in an open or polyamorous relationship. It's mainly because they think a would be fun.
How many couples fall into the flexible category?
The data I have is based on 3,500 people. Guess.
I would say 30%.
50%.
50?
Yeah.
True or false? Your sexual profile can change throughout your life.
True. Maybe your natural tendency when you're younger is monogamous. We have seen some research that says when people are older, they tend to be more permissive towards trying new things. Then maybe when you're 45 or 50, you're like, I'm now leaning towards flexible.
Dr. Tara is shaking up the world of sexual wellness. A tenured professor of sexual communication, award-winning researcher, and global media personality, she's the host of Love Bites podcast, co-host of the iconic Loveline, and the author of the brand new book, How Do You Like It?
From TV screens to the classroom to international stages, Dr. Tara is redefining how we talk about intimacy, desire, and what it really takes to have a thriving sex life.
What's the protocol for bringing back sparks when you've reached menopause?
Romance. Understanding your partner's love language and do them regularly. Try sexual meditation every day. Sex is a meditative experience. You need to be able to take deep breaths to orgasm, but you as a person will feel significantly more.
Welcome to the Dr. Brighten Show, where we burn the BS in women's health to the ground. I'm your host, Dr. Jolene Brighten, and if you've ever been dismissed, told your symptoms are normal or just in your head, or been told just to deal with it, this show is for you. And if while listening to this, you decide you like this kind of content, I invite you to head over to drbrighten.com, where you'll find free guides, twice weekly podcast releases, and a ton of resources to support you on your journey. Let's dive in. Dr. Tara, you have created a sexual personality test that is changing people's love lives. What's the most surprising thing people discover about themselves when they take it?
Ooh, so I hear a lot from people that like they didn't realize that that was their sexual profile. Mm-hmm. So for example, you know, someone that like consistently likes like missionary sex and consistently like to have sex in like the bedroom on her own bed, like took the test and then found out that like she's actually not a consistent lover. She's a dynamic lover. Mm-hmm. And that was like a huge shock for her when she was reading like the dynamic definition. So yeah, like people discover that who they thought they were in bed isn't necessarily like who they actually are or can be when they hit the highest potential of expression.
Yeah. Okay, I'm very excited for this conversation. We're going to be getting into all of this. And for everyone listening, Dr. Tara, you are a tenured professor. You actually are, were you the youngest tenured professor at Cal State Fullerton?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want everybody to understand as we come into this, you are an academic first, because I think often when people hear sex, they're just like, oh, this strange person in the corner of the internet. And it's like, no, she's you're actually in the classroom teaching on this.
You know, my student even asked me the other day, they were like, so do you have a PhD? I said, yes, hence Dr. Tara. And they were like, oh, we thought it was kind of like Dr. Dre.
What? You're like, also cool.
Yeah, also cool
as me.
But like not as much education in school and schooling. But I'll trade bank accounts with Dr. Dre any day.
Fair. So we're talking about these sexual profiles. What are some of the different sexual profiles? And I'm really interested to hear how they shape the way people connect with their partner.
Yes. So I love to call it like the Myers-Briggs of sex, because you also get acronyms. Because like, have you taken Myers-Briggs personality test?
Yes, I have.
What are you?
What am I, an ENT? Is it J? Yeah.
It feels like you're
like, I already know.
Yeah, I'm an ENFJ.
Okay.
Yeah, so ENTJ is more reasonable than ENFJ. So F is feelings. So like I have a lot of feelings and make a lot of decisions based on emotions. But anyway, so sexual profile is like Myers-Briggs. So when you take the test will tell you your main keywords, 4 main keywords that explains who you are sexually in bed. And these are basically acronyms. So the first category is whether or not you're consistent or dynamic. Consistent in I wrote about it extensively, but like in short, basically it's someone that really enjoys sex that is consistent from before. For example, someone that enjoys missionary every time, always sex in the bedroom, in bed, because like they just know that that's comfortable for them, that that's a reliable way to orgasm, and there's no right or wrong answer. So some people are consistent lovers, but some people are dynamic lovers. They need change. They need the different positions to feel more turned on. They need different spaces to have sex in to feel more turned on and be into it. So some people are consistent, some people are dynamic, no wrong answers. Which one do you think you are?
Oh, I'm gonna have to like really think about that and like retake this quiz because I was just reading through it like to do questions.
Yeah.
But I do like consistency. However, because I have ADHD, there has to be a dynamic component. Otherwise, if it's completely predictable, like my brain has figured out the plot and it's bored. Right?
Yes. I love that part. And I love that you said that because a lot of people ask me like, can't you be both? And the answer is you can exhibit or desire both, but people have a primary.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when people say like, I'm an introvert, but like when I'm in a social situation, I can be an extrovert. It's like you can be social.
Yeah.
And you can enjoy it even.
Yeah.
But a lot of times your true personality is an introvert.
Yeah.
So it's like my true personality is a sex personality, is a dynamic person. I crave differences all the time. However, it doesn't mean that I can't orgasm consistently through missionary sex.
Yeah.
And enjoy it.
Yeah. In that context, I would say I'm consistent because I do that. Like the girl does like a routine, like does crave things. Yeah. But I
Which
think
makes sense with the ENTJ too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So this is one aspect of the profile, but there's 3 others.
There's 3 others.
Okay.
Next is traditional or kinky. So are you traditional or kinky? If you're traditional, it means that you lean towards enjoying conventional sexual acts. So this can be, it can include like oral sex in foreplay or like maybe even like manual stimulation in foreplay. But then the penetrative sex can be missionary, doggy, cowgirl, right? And sex is like between 2 people that are in a relationship. So that's the more traditional lovers. The other way is kinky. And this is where you, as a lover, enjoy unconventional, non-traditional sexual acts. This can be like anything outside of what I had just described for traditional. So if you're someone that also enjoys, some bondage, maybe some S&M, maybe pet play, maybe food play, maybe trying like, unique sex positions, then or have sex in public, like outside, or maybe go to sex parties, like then you're more kinky.
Let me ask you, because I have read research that says about 20% have engaged in some level of kink. And my first thought was, these are only the people who admit it, or the people who think that's kink. So they may enjoy having sex in the back of the car, but they think, well, teenagers have sex in the back of the car. So like, this is a normal thing. This is a traditional thing. Would that fall in the box of kink?
It would fall in a box of kink because this survey is all about its self-report, right? And it's subjective evaluation.
Yeah.
So if you feel your activity is kinky and you are kinky, then you are kinky because that's what you believe in yourself. And this is all about self-concept, right? Like how you think about yourself and how you want to express to your partner.
Yeah.
So then you would be kinky.
Yeah. So, and then, okay, so we've got the first two.
Yeah.
What are the next ones?
So the next one is monogamous or flexible. And I didn't use open because flexible doesn't mean open. So monogamous means you have sex with one partner for the duration of your relationship. Only one partner with no exceptions. Flexible means that there are exceptions, that you are open to having a conversation or engaging in sex that involves other people outside of the person in the duration of that relationship. And this could be things like having a threesome, foursome, attending a sex party, or full-on open relationship, polyamorous relationship. So flexible just means anything outside of monogamy.
I'm curious, how many couples or individuals fall into the flexible category? Like, just as what we know, in terms of like the data we have.
Yeah. So the data I have is based on 3,500 people. And guess.
I would say like 30%.
50%.
50?
Yeah.
That's
a little over 50%, like 52. It depends because people take the survey every day.
Yeah.
Because it's on my website. So like I have new data every day, but it's about 52% of people say, oh yeah, like I'm flexible.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily because they want to be in an open or polyamorous relationship. It's mainly because they think a threesome would be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember, so when I was in college, taking the psychology of aging course, and what was so interesting and stuck out to me is that they were following these couples over a lifetime in this like documentary. And what they found is that many couples, as they aged, they became more flexible. And I remember this, I was like 20 at the time. This was mind blowing to me. This woman was like, oh, I drop him off at his girlfriend's house and and he's like, yes. And she has her boyfriend. And like, we see these other people. And when they were being interviewed, all of these people were saying, this actually strengthens our relationship. It makes us more attracted to each other. And because being married to somebody for 50 plus years and the same person, like you begin to explore and change things. So that makes me ask the question, do people's personalities change over time, or when situations change, they take your personality, either sexual personality profile test? Do things change? Like maybe you have a baby, maybe, you are going through menopause, maybe you've been married 50 years. Is there context where things switch?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I theorize that people change over the course of life and therefore their sexual profile can change. However, I mean, I think there is your primary profile, but then there's also situational things, right? It's kind of like trait, personality, and state feelings, right? So if we're talking trait and state, like, as a dynamic person, there could be times where I'm like, oh, I just honestly, like, I just want, like, the missionary giving the orgasms. Like, I'm tired. I just want to feel connected to you. Like, I don't really need to, like, go outside and, like, try to do something else. But it doesn't mean I change from being a dynamic person, because ultimately I am. But situationally, things could change, right? That's why there's that comparison between trait and state. And I think that as a dynamic lover, I'll always be a dynamic lover, but it doesn't mean that from time to time, consistency works better for me at the time. Yeah.
And then what's the last profile?
The last profile is whether you're leaning more gentle as a lover or animalistic.
Okay.
So gentle lovers tend to enjoy soft touching, caressing, very sensual love making, kind of like let's get it on Marvin Gaye vibes. And then animalistic lover tends to like rough sex, rough grabbing, scratching, biting, just like a lot of passion in a fiery way. Of course, no right or wrong. Both people can very much enjoy sex and have a very pleasurable sexual session. But when you have a partner that understands your style and adapt to it, it can be even more, it can feel even more pleasurable. The connection can be deeper and you can bond better.
So, well, I have a question then, because I imagine people who are in a partnership are going to want to they want to both take this profile. You'll see like in astrology where it's like, these are star-crossed, like these personalities do not, are there any personalities that don't go together? They're like, they're not a match. Or do you address that in your book of like, if you're this and you're that, and it feels like there's friction, here's what you can actually do?
I do address it in my book. I said, if your profiles are the opposite, it's not like a doom for your relationship. Like, this is not an indicator that you are doomed. It's an indicator that there's work to do. And if you love that person enough, you will do the work. And I describe like how to do this work. Like, let's say if you are traditional, your partner is, you know, more kinky, like here are the things that you can explore within the lines. If you are, the hardest one would be if you're monogamous and your partner is not.
Yeah.
But then
do you feel like that's an incompatibility, or do you think there's ways to overcome that? Or
I think there are ways to overcome that, where, you know, you can involve others without physically being with them. So there's like nowadays, there's, you know, obviously like online sex workers that you can like talk to and engage in like through like cyber sex. There's, you know, watching porn together, inviting like third party into the situation without actually seeing a person. So there are ways. And speaking about the future, I mean, there's already sex robots. There's already AI sex robots that you can program personality, program accents, how they orgasm, when they orgasm. I mean, who knows, right? Like how people can adjust in the future. So there isn't one that's like you're done. Like all of them you can work on.
So I am curious how knowing your sexual profile and knowing your partner's sexual profile can actually contribute to the longevity of a relationship.
It can contribute positively and significantly by these 3 different ways. So first off, it gives you language to start talking about sexual well-being in your relationship. A lot of different surveys show that majority of people in relationships have never had full-on conversations about their sex lives before. Maybe they say things like, oh, I like it there, or I want to try this position, but they never talk about the overall like sexual well-being. What is it like for you to have a good sex life? Who are you sexually? Like, what do you truly like in bed? What are your fantasies? What are some of your potential kinks that you may not even know yet? What is something you have seen online or on TV that you want to explore? These conversations are called macro sexual communication. Most people in relationships have never had them.
Why do you think that is?
Because sex is still so taboo. And there is a myth that people think that humans should know how to do sex without talking about it. And because it should be instinctual, there's no point talking about it. Like, it's instinctual. It's what we do as humans. It's like eating.
People will try to make that argument and they'll say, look at mammals. And I'm like, have you not been on National Geographic? Because they make all kinds of noises. There's little dances going on. There's nuzzling. There's all kinds of things. And like, while you don't understand the communication, there is a lot of communication that's happening.
Communication. And I love that point. That's a really good point. So sexual profile, first off, allows you to have the language to talk about yourself and to engage in that sort of conversation in a more educated manner. Secondly, I think it brings partners closer together because it allows them to understand the other person better, and now you can take action towards being the lover that your partner would really enjoy, and they also do the same, so that it's like 2 people catering to each other. Like, that's the best sex. And then lastly, it allows you to prevent sexual resentment, which is one of the top factors contributing to breakups and divorce, right? People are resentful towards their partners and they haven't had sex in a long time. Sexless marriages is super common. It allows you to understand each other and prevent that from happening by engaging in various other activities that will be fulfilling for each other.
I want to play 2 truths and a lie with our audience.
Okay.
If they can spot the lie, we'll give them time to answer, and then we'll give them some time. But first, I'm going to read these 3. So first is, your sexual profile can change throughout your life. Communication is more important than chemistry in sustaining passion. Your relationship is doomed if you don't have the same sexual profile. So people can guess which is the lie. Leave us a comment on YouTube. And then we're going to come back to it and unpack it. But what I want to ask you is that if you could ask every listener right now to experiment for the next 7 days to bring spark back to their relationship, what would you challenge them to do?
I would challenge them to try sexual meditation every day.
Interesting. What's that?
Yeah. So sexual meditation is like a regular meditation, but it focuses on sexual thoughts, feelings, and sensations in the body that are your erogenous zones. So when you do regular meditation, whether it's for calmness, sleep, confidence, work, whatever it is, there is a context around that meditation, right? Maybe it's you do it silently and you visualize like a really good job interview, right? Or you do it with a guided meditation and you're trying to sleep, right? So this is one other context that you should try, and it's the sexual context. You can do it quietly by engaging in like a visualization of like really hot sex that you had last time, or even an imagination, maybe hot sex that you've never had with a partner that you've never had, or a celebrity crush. You can think about that. You can also do feelings, like what does it feel like in your body when you think about sex? And then you can also do massaging different erogenous zones as you meditate and take deep breaths. So it connects your mind with your body and the erogenous zones. So you could be meditating, taking deep breaths, massaging your nipples, massaging your pubic area, for example. You can also go to guided meditation, because some people like that. I have like free guided sexual meditation on YouTube. A bunch of different clips, just depending on what particular sex thing you want to work on. Some of them are 5 minutes, some of them are 10 minutes. A lot of them are for couples. So you do it together. So you can like get naked, hold hands, and like follow the instructions. Take deep breaths, close your eyes, and, you know, just do it for 10 minutes together. There's a lot of research. A lot of them actually by Dr. Lori Brotto, that wrote the book about sexual mindfulness, but a lot of research on sexual mindfulness practices and how that has a huge positive impact on people's sex lives, including higher sexual desires for women who reported having low sexual desire, better sexual functioning, less vaginal pain, things like that. So there's lots of benefits in all of her experiments. And she even wrote a whole book about it. And there's lots of research articles on it. So I'm a huge fan of sexual meditation also because it's free. Like, you know, you don't have to buy a drug. You don't have to buy new lingerie. You don't have to buy a vibrator. You can just meditate together and feel more sexually connected than ever before.
Is this a daily practice, weekly practice? What kind of cadence would you say people should try to start with?
I think to make it achievable, I think people should try it like twice a week.
Okay.
Yeah, twice a week, one during the week, one during the weekend. To really get in that groove. And when you get comfortable just sitting silently with your partner for 5 minutes or 10 minutes doing this, then I would say like 3 to 4 times a week, you will feel so connected. Like, this is what I do and I feel amazing.
Yeah. So I'm hearing improved libido, less vaginal pain with penetration, better connection with your partner. Certainly, it's going to help your stress levels. So it's going to help your hormones.
Breathing in an intentional way.
Yeah, definitely. So let's go back to the truths and a lie. I'm going to ask you, true or false, your sexual profile can change throughout your life.
True.
Okay. And why is that true?
Because like I said, you know, maybe your natural tendency when you're younger is like, let's say, monogamous. And then maybe when you're 45, like we said, like, you know, we have seen some research that says when people are older, they tend to be more permissive towards trying new things, including in other people. Then maybe when you're 45 or 50, you're like, I'm now leaning towards flexible. So you can change.
Okay. True or false? Communication is more important than chemistry in sustaining passion.
It's true.
Okay.
Yeah. Because even if you have chemistry, but terrible communication, like there's no point because you can't sustain chemistry. Chemistry can come, they can go. A lot of times it fizzles out, you know, as soon as 6 months. So communication is what going to sustain your sex life.
Your sexual relationship is doomed if you don't have the same sexual profile. True or false?
False.
All right. And I feel like we've talked about that one and we covered it pretty well. But I want to do a little bit of like rapid fire of our like protocol playground, if you will. I feel like
Yeah.
playground is like perfect for this.
Love that.
So what's your protocol if somebody says we have mismatched libidos?
My protocol would be, first off, sit down and talk about your ideal frequency. Like, first, you have to know what you're working with, like establish a baseline. If your partner says, you know what, it would be nice for me to like sexually connect with you like 3 times a week. And if you're like, I can only do once a week. Now, the two, that's the difference, the discrepancy. What can we do? It can be sexual meditation. It can be taking a bath together. Things that also contribute to sexual connection, not necessarily penetration.
What's the protocol for couples who love each other but say sex feels like a chore?
Try my erotic solution. So in the book, I talk about how sex can be boring. And, you know, there are so many things in the world of sexuality that you can try if you put in the effort and initiative. So like when you read through the book, for example, like one of them is yap yum. Right? Have you guys tried the yap yum?
I don't know. I'm not even sure I know what this word is.
Yeah. So yap yum is a part of like the Eastern philosophy, like tantric sex teachings, but it's a position to connect with one another.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
So the man would like sit cross-legged,
so
and then the woman
straddle,
would sit on him, legs around him, and then your foreheads would join, and you would take synchronized breaths. Like, that's one of the erotic solutions. And it's not boring at all. It's actually really fun. And you can even choose the playlist that like works for you. I know that sometimes I'll choose like sexual frequency sounds, but sometimes I'll also choose like pony or like, you know, R&B or like, and it's a fun activity to like do with your partner, and it doesn't include penetration or having sex in a traditional sense, but it definitely makes me feel very connected to him and turned on.
What's the science behind sexual frequencies? So people hear about binaural beats or sleep frequencies, but I bet sexual frequency is new to people.
Yeah. I think it's 437.
The hertz?
Yeah.
437?
Yeah. I think there's multiple, but I don't have that on top of my head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and unless interested, because people are not going to look up the hertz, they're going to go like be on Spotify and be like, "What is this sexual frequency?"
Yeah.
I'm more interested in people hearing like what happens to you physiologically, mentally, emotionally when that frequency is being played.
I think when that frequency is being played, you feel more relaxed, and I think it allows you to feel more of your nerve endings that are in your erogenous zones. I think it's more in tune of that. But at the same time, it depends on the receiver also. If you're a receiver that has a lot of blockage, you might not feel it. But if you're so in tune with your body and you're open and receiving, you really feel it.
Do you feel like people who
I get hard nipples from listening to it. Yeah, so I don't listen to it in the car.
Or when you're like I'm about to go like give a talk on stage or, you know, on TV. Yeah, teaching, that would be another one. I think that you know, I want to ask you, and then we'll go back to the protocols, but do you think people who practice mindfulness and meditation have better sex?
1000%.
Okay, why is that?
Because ultimately, sex is a meditative experience. You need to be able to take deep breaths, like to your genital, to orgasm. You need to be able to focus to feel pleasures in the erogenous zones. You need to be able to concentrate on your partner and the act in order to give and receive pleasure. All of these things need concentration and being present, and meditation is a practice of being present. So if you do that every day, and yoga, for example, then yeah, you're definitely a better lover.
Okay, so let me ask you, what's the protocol when one partner wants to explore kinks and the other doesn't?
Common ground.
Okay.
Unfortunately, you know, there isn't a way to bypass it completely, right? Someone who is more vanilla and someone who's really kinky, and let's say they want to explore, for example, power dynamics. They want to explore power play, like dom and sub vibes. And if the other person's like, no, I'm not into that, like I can't be your sub or I can't be your dom, there is a middle ground that can be common ground that can be done. Dom and sub doesn't have to be as extreme as getting in a collar, getting on your knees, walk around with a leash, right? It can also be the other person saying, come here, listen to me, right? Like, and you obeying to that, or, you know, letting your partner sort of gently pull your hair down while they kiss you on the neck. Like, that's someone dominating you. So there are variations of everything. All kinks have variations. You don't have to go to the deep end. You can just go level 1. And that's within the frame of like honoring the vanilla person's boundaries. And I think both people can be happy with that.
Yeah, I think that's a great tip. My question for you is that sometimes it is coming from a place of shame, how people were raised, that like, this is off limits, this is bad, like, this is something that like deviant people do. How do people overcome that if that's their struggle?
Education. Research found that the more sexually educated you are about whatever topic that you have fear or anxiety about, the more confident you become. So I would say reading books about kinks, reading like good source, like credible articles about it, listen to podcasts of like kinky people talk about their lives. It's very quote unquote like normal. They live very normal life.
Yeah.
And like I know a lot of super kinky people. They're just normal people. They're your dentist, your lawyer, your barista. Like, they have a normal life and they love these kinky out of the box sex. And I think without the knowledge, you sensationalize it and you dramatize it. With the knowledge, by reading about it, listening about it, you know, like, oh, okay, like, and there's variations.
What's the protocol for bringing back sparks after kids or when you've reached menopause?
Romance.
What does romance mean? Because we know what Hallmark says.
Right. Yeah. Romance means understanding your partner's love language and do them regularly. So, recently I talked to this couple who came in to my coaching practice, and you know, the wife goes like, yeah, I don't even remember the last time I got a gift that was for me. Like Christmas, I got a Dyson vacuum, which I love, right? It helps me do chores better, like clean the house better. But at the same time, like, when was the last time I got jewelry, lingerie, like anything?
Yeah.
And after having them take like a bunch of different tests, like obviously one of her top 3 love languages is gift. And it needs to be gifts that communicate desire and adoration, not helpful, useful gifts.
Yeah.
So then he understood, and I said, listen, like, there's no sex life. We don't even need to talk about sex life right now. Let's just talk about romance. Let's just talk about helping each other feel more sexy and turned on by themselves. And a woman can't feel sexy or turned on if her partner doesn't regularly communicate that through the love language that they speak. So of course, like, you know, he started, and I said, and it can't just be one time thing. You can't be like giving her earrings and thing like, oh, come here, have sex.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's bullshit. But at the same time, like, it does work. So like, basically, I'm going to be tracking like what he's going to do. Like, you know, it can be like little gifts. So she even said like, you know, when you go out to Starbucks, like come back and like get me something.
Just
right?
think of me.
Yeah, think of me. And you know, they spend a lot of time together, but it's not quality time. They don't talk. They both watch TV for a long period of time, right? When they say like, yeah, but we spend a lot of time together. I'm like, is it quality time or just time? Because there's a difference. So I think learning more, being more curious about your partner and adjusting your language to really show them that you desire them is first step in bringing the spark back. Don't even talk about sex. Sex comes when all these things are there.
I'm curious, what's the worst gift that you have received from a man, or maybe heard from someone else and you're like, that's the worst?
Oh my gosh. Let me think about it. Okay, this is recent and I feel so bad for my friend. But my friend is a very, very like straight monogamous person. Like she's not interested in like kinky, like super kinky. She's down for like, you know, butt slap and stuff like that. But she is not interested in having sex with other people at all, and actually feels very territorial around her relationship. her boyfriend surprised her for her birthday with a sex party ticket.
What? She's like, line.
Is that like the worst gift ever? Like, do you not listen to your girlfriend? Like, that is not who she is. And she was pissed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to share, and my husband's in the room right now, but it's a very hilarious story that he got me a scale.
Oh my God.
Okay. So in his defense,
Like weighing scale?
a weighing scale. It's a very high tech one that like gives you lots of data. He knows I love
that.
data.
You're a science girl.
He eventually got me an Apple Watch.
Yes.
Great gift.
Yes.
But I have an Oura ring. He knows I love tracking data. So he gets me the scale. I open it for like my birthday. I think I was turning 42 or something. And I was like, what? Like, you got me a scale. And I go, and like, you know, at the time I'm laughing, but I'm like, I'm opening it in front of my two sons. And I'm like, oh no, because I have to raise boys that people want to date.
True.
And then the scale, what made it worse is he's like, oh, it hooks up to your phone and it actually wouldn't tell you your bone mass, your muscle mass, all that. I'm like, this is so cool. I get on it and it tells me I'm obese. It tells me my BMI is 32 and I'm obese. Anyhow, we laugh about it now. My love language is acts of service. So the gifts don't have that much weight for me. But anyhow, it's a story I love to tell. And especially to have women hear that look, he made, this is a big mistake. And it's a funny thing that we laugh about now, but also it didn't mean he loves me less. It wasn't an insult or anything like that. And just to talk about we make mistakes in relationships and we can move forward from that and laugh about it. But my biggest thing was I was like, I have two boys and they're seeing this. This is not, I just had
So did you have a conversation with them after?
Yes. Yeah. And something else is that, just for parents listening, I went through knee surgery and I told my husband, when I come home, please make sure there's flowers. Go get flowers and have those. And he's like, are you telling me I'm not doing a good job or something? I'm like, no, I could care less about the flowers. I want to go home and go to bed. I need you to take the boys to get the flowers so that they see this is what you do. They show love. And so
sweet.
we're always also trying to think in that context of what, as well of okay, how are we showing up for each other in a relationship that also shows two boys to actually be highly dateable individuals?
Exactly. I also want to mention when it comes to love languages and just how you want to be loved. I love that you just gave that example about the flowers and including your sons. There is this myth in the dating world and in relationships that if your partner loves you, they should know exactly how to treat you, exactly what gifts to get, exactly how to talk to you. Bullshit. You are responsible in teaching them. Now, there is such thing as you've already taught them and they don't listen. Okay, that's a shitty partner.
Yeah,
let them go. But you need to take accountability on how to love you better. Because people don't know, they're clueless. I remember meeting my now husband, but when we met, I had to teach him everything, how to talk to me, how many times I like to be talked to, how, how to, if Valentine's Day was coming up, back then, after we met, Valentine's Day was coming up, what do I expect, right? But then I have girlfriends that go yeah, but that's not romantic. I don't want to tell him this is a gift I want. I want him to know. I'm how would he know? There's billions of women in the world. Other women are not like you. People he has dated probably not like you. How would he know? And then you're setting yourself up for disappointment. So just teach him. For these first few times, for your first Valentine's, birthday, anniversary, Christmas, teach him what you like. And then from then on, he can probably think for himself.
Yeah. We ask our kids to make Christmas lists or birthday wish lists, right? So it's actually something that we do as well. And I will say here's the things that I would want. Here's a list and just pick. Just pick. And I know I'm going to get what I want. And I'm going to be surprised because I don't know which thing it is. And I think I've had friends that say to me the same thing, that's not romantic. And isn't that tedious? I'm yeah, but I want that. And why is it wrong for me to express that I want that? And I think that's part of it too, is it's not just about it not being romantic, but it's also feeling you don't have permission to state what you want. And as we're having this conversation in the context of your specialty, I'm wow, and how does that translate to the bedroom?
So much. If you don't dare speak up in your regular daily life in your relationship, then in bed it's even more vulnerable. Then you won't be speaking up at all in bed or about sex. Then you're doomed.
Yeah. I'm curious, what's the most controversial thing you believe about long-term relationships that most therapists or sex experts would disagree with?
That I think everyone's monogamish.
Ish. Yeah.
Yeah. I think everyone's monogamish. I think there gets to be some point in their lives that they're like, oh, let's just try this thing for fun. And it can be a threesome or going to a play party. But like, of course, if you're listening and if you're in your 30s or maybe 40s, you might feel like, yeah, that's not for me. But like, have you been with the same person since your 20s? And if you're going to be with them till your 90s, like that's a long time. So my belief is that I think everyone is monogamish. And if they allow themselves to be, they will be engaging in these things at some point in their lives. And again, when I say monogamish, I don't mean open relationships, polyamorous relationships. I just mean that you would involve another person or other persons here and there in your sexual repertoire at some point. And that's my controversial belief.
Do you include fantasizing about other people or maybe even the couple, like, you know, when they're talking to each other during sex and they're playing out a fantasy of like another person in that ish spectrum?
Yes, because it's outside of your partner. Like if you have a fantasy about like, let's say sex with your ex, and if you're able to like converse, like talk about it together, that's like sort of your king. It's like hot past is a king, where you like to like reminisce hot past lovers and sex sessions and then talk about it with your partner. So if hot past is your king, like, I mean, that's involving other people that's outside of your relationship, and that's monogamish.
And there are people who will say adamantly that if you ever think about anyone else in a sexual way, you are cheating. What do you say? Because there's some pretty heavy science behind that.
You think about things all the time. Like, you know, I like comparing it to horror movies. Like, do you think people in horror movies are going to go out and do those horrible things? Just because your partner think about Scarlett Johansson giving him a blowjob, like, doesn't mean that, like, you know, that's gonna happen or that's what he truly desires in life. Like, if you have a strong enough relationship and trust and it's a healthy relationship, that's what they want. That's what you want. That's what they want. So ultimately, I think when people are mad at that, or like mad if their partner watch porn, right? Even if it's like a thing that it's not like he's hiding or secretly doing it every day, but like you just like don't allow your partner to watch porn at all, or just don't allow your partner to do certain things. I think it comes from a lot of insecurity and the lack of trust that that relationship is real and it's true and it's truly based on love. Because if it's real, true, and truly based on love, you would know that your partner's not going anywhere and that they're here, they're invested, they're here for the long run, and it doesn't matter who pops into their head from time to time.
What are some things that are completely normal, if not very common, that the general public often thinks is like completely fringe?
Going to a sex party.
Really? How common is that?
It's so common. Like currently in my friend group, and it's not like a sex friend group either. It's just friends that I know from outside of even like the sex positive world. Like they all go. So, yeah, it's a lot more common than you think. If I have to guesstimate, I would say about like 30% of people have gone. And maybe they go and they don't do anything, but they have gone. To some sort of play party or BDSM party. It's just like an erotic party.
Yeah, what's a sex party? I guess like there's probably people right now that are just like, it must be an orgy, but no, there's actually a spectrum.
Yeah. So people like to say sex party because it's just easy to say. But I think a word that's perhaps more accurate is erotic party. Because the parties that are being organized centers around eroticism. And that can be like a show where there's like burlesque dancer that strips. But it can also be a show of people having live sex and you can watch. It can also be a show of a person like using sex toy on herself or himself or themselves. So it revolves around eroticism, and there are different tiers, different types, different categories. So let me give you one example of killing kittens, for example, in London. It's a huge party.
People right now are going to be like, what?
Yeah, killing kittens. No, not the actual killing kitten. The brand is called Killing Kittens, or KK. It's a huge brand in London, but also here around the world now. But it's huge in London. A very recognizable name. It's on like every magazine. It's an erotic party, so you can just go and have a night out with your girlfriends, with your partner, like whoever, a date. When you go in, right, you first like put your phone away. Depends on the type of party that day. Sometimes they put a sticker on your camera, sometimes they lock your phone outside. Then you go enjoy a party. When you walk in, there are like erotic like corners, like people like dancing in lingerie, or if it's later in the night, then they're already naked. Then there's a show, so like whatever show is, like there's various different shows, but it's sexual. You can just grab a drink, enjoy the show, go home. But deeper into the club, you can also go to the orgy room, where there are beds and comfy things like blankets, pillows, and people in there are having sex. You can go in, sort of like walk around, watch a little bit and leave. You can't stand and stare, okay? Like that's not good etiquette. But you can go in, walk around, like observe and be like, whoa, like so turned on. And then go home and have sex with your partner. Like completely fine. Or you can like sit down, ask if you can join, and you can join. So like there's just so many things you can do, but it's a great night out. And the thing that I love most about erotic parties is it's safe. You have to apply to go. Like you can't just show up.
So they're doing background checks?
Well, I don't know if they do full background checks. It
not
depends.
like FBI level.
Right. Yeah,
checks,
no, but like you have to apply. So you have to like use your ID and apply to go. So when you go, like everyone in there has applied to come here, and they are legitimate people, and they won't do anything that's dangerous or non-consensual, because like we will all know. So in fact, here's the fact. Sex parties are safer than nightclubs.
Interesting.
Way safer. Like you get roofied. People get roofied all the time at nightclubs. You would never have that in a sex party because everyone's vetted and it's so safe. And consent is a huge thing. It's the safest place for women.
Yeah. It was very interesting because as you talk about this, it brings up how often BDSM is vilified. And it's something that when I was getting my sex certification, it was so interesting learning about how neurodivergent people gravitate towards BDSM and kink. And the reasons are consent is always central. It is the most consensual acts where conversations are had up front. Expectations are laid out up front.
There's even paperwork.
Yeah. And everything is kept really, really safe. And it's something that, even whenever I bring it up, people are just like, no, that's dangerous. And, bad people
weird.
do that.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, actually, for a lot of people, it's the safest form of sex because of how everything is approached. It's not just you roll in and if somebody's like grabbing your hair and tying you up and you never said okay to that, that's assault. That is not the same as BDSM or in the kink camp altogether. But I think it's really important for people to understand the protections that are in place here, because I think what you see in the media and what gets spun isn't the actual truth of what is happening.
Not at all.
It's also interesting because I was surprised at how many people you were like, go to sex parties. And then I was like, wait, I've had multiple roommates over the years, like all through college, who went to sex parties. And I'm like, what does that say about me? Probably that I was like a laid back person, that they were like, yeah, I can live with her because she's not going to be judging. I'm like, I don't care. You're not in my space. It doesn't involve me. It's not my business. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I think that means a lot. Having ally friends is really important. I have quite a few of my close friends that would not, partake in anything like that. They're completely monogamous. They have very different sex life from me, but at the same time, respect what I do, interested in hearing, because it's like, juicy drama or gossip. Or they just think it's fun to hear, like watching a movie. Yeah. But it's just like great to have friends that are allies. Yeah, it's like LGBTQ, right? Like coming out as a kinky person, as a non-monogamous person, it is scary because the world doesn't accept it yet. So for me, like coming out that way, like having ally friends is really important.
Yeah. I want to ask you, your erotic solutions, your sexual profile in the book, you set out to write this book. If couples are applying what is in there, what is your forecast? 3 to 5 years of their relationship. If they're really putting in the work that you outline in your book, what could they experience?
They will feel more sexually connected to one another than they have ever felt. Because there's a lot of activities on there, and if you're actually putting in the effort to do them, you will feel extremely connected. And that will fuel every other part of your life. Like your skin will look better, your hair will be better, your health will be better, because we know a good sex life contributes to better immune system, better physical health, better mental health. You also as a person will feel significantly more confident walking into any room, taking up space, because you know who you are and you can use that sexual energy to your advantage.
Well, I know what a labor of love it is to write a book. You've written a fantastic book, and I want to say thank you so much for that and for taking the time to chat with us today.
Thank you so much. This has been like an orgasmic experience.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Highest praise.
You're an amazing interviewer. I love this podcast.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining the conversation. If you could like, subscribe, or leave a review, it helps me so much in getting this information out to everyone who needs it. If you enjoyed this conversation, then I definitely want you to check out this.